in.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BSL, the Babylon Smite League. We're here to watch the Enkidu Division Fallen Angels take on Eternal Vanguard. My name's Morty, and I'm joined here by Airborne, here with me here in the booth and doing all the fancy production things, keeping the lights on, and everything you see on screen is CafeKatArt. We've got some awesome stuff ahead of you, but Airborne, what's going on, my man? I haven't talked to you in a minute.
Well, I just heard from you actually that you just spent the whole day casting the Smite game and casted a finals and got all that big stuff going on you. But we've been over here, we casted the Gilgamesh set earlier, now joining you for this one for what the entire Enkidu and possibly the league is calling the Toilet Bowl, the match of the century. EV with a set win and an extra game win, FA with 2 games. And now we're loading in with these P's and B's, a Thor and Hecate gone, and Discordia as we get ready to kick off potentially a 4-hour banger.
I hate that you say that. I'm pretty sure you're right, but I think we're gonna be here for a hot minute. It is definitely gonna be a bit of a culture shock to go from casting over what some could consider the best players in the entirety of Smite 2 EU down here to scraping the bottom of the barrel, especially with Test here. We're really looking for the bottom of the bottom, but I'm still excited to see who comes out on top. Like you said, both teams have had a bit of a rough season, but it is what it is. Hopefully, we can use this momentum and recover from there. By the way, for the fifth band, that is Chiron. We don't have an image for it yet. Tech issues, blame assness. That's kind of what we do here in Babylon, just kind of blame assness on everything like that. But yeah.
True. True. Yeah, it probably definitely yeah, no, not even probably. Definitely going to be a bit of a culture shock for you as we go into what the individual players, Puppy Girl Ashland, even calling it the toilet bowl in the production chat. So letting us know, like, hey, prepare yourself beforehand. So Chiron Band, then this Daji, and then the Bologna first overall pick.
I know that Deps likes this one. Deps is a big fan of the Bologna pick, and I've seen Deps is a pretty comfortable solo player. I know that Deps has moved around a little bit, especially in casuals that we played. Deps is pretty comfortable going wherever, but I've seen Deps on the Bologna. This looks like a comfort pick. I'm A-okay with giving a strong pick and also a comfort pick to one of our best players. I'm cool with that.
Especially with just the way that pressure works at all these different levels. Gotta imagine, like, I know it plays a big part in the Gilgamesh sets that we've been a part of, but down here in Enkidu, right? If you're just at this dude's tower line for 20 minutes and there's nothing he can do about it, you're probably feeling pretty good. Maybe get your jungle on some camp invades, stuff like that. And then the Medusa E set trade off over here for EV. So already a question mark on if this Medusa is a mid carry or if this E set is the mid or the support.
Okay. Okay. I wouldn't even rule out because of where we're at, right? The Enkidu division. I wouldn't even rule out Medusa jungle. I've seen a lot of carries being utilized in jungle. Yesterday,
It's true.
in the Tiamat division, we saw NMR take Newt over there. Earlier, we saw Jing Wei as well here on yesterday on Tiamat as well. We saw Jing Wei in the jungle. There's no limit to who you could be seeing. Please tell me, Tess, that is an aspect Geb in carry. Oh my goodness.
So we did just see an aspect Geb solo today in Enkidu. So
Wow.
this is another one of those talking about Medusa could be anywhere picks. Uh Geb also could be anywhere. And then Athena obviously see him in support, see him in jungle. So there's a lot of quote unquote flex we got going on. And Apollo, who we just saw was jungling in Gilgamesh today.
You know what's crazy is that I actually am a big fan of Geb going into Apollo because Apollo's known, the Mez is quite annoying.
hmm
If you get locked down, then
Yep.
you're there for seconds at a time. But Geb can actually utilize Stone Shield, regardless if this is Geb aspect or not. Geb can utilize Stone Shield to cleanse himself of the Mez, and that's kind of a decent little tech. Now, if this is Geb support, which I don't know, considering we have Bologna and Athena, this could be Athena jungle, honestly. There's still a chance that it is. But if Geb is an aspect here, then you can cleanse a lot of your friends from a lot of the CC that's on the side of Eternal Vanguard. Petrify takes out your carry. Okay, Stone Shield. Same thing with the set. Same thing with Apollo Mez. That Stone Shield could be massive here. But based on what we're seeing on screen, I have a feel. Wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is this Mousy on the Donza in mid?
I think it has to be with this comp, right? Like, I think this has to be Geb Aspect, which you'd assume would go carry, and then Donza in the mid lane. Otherwise, we've got four super beefy melee fighters, and then probably still Mousy on Donza in mid.
Okay. I don't know. This is kind of a shock here, and I'm kind of wondering. Maybe look. I'm assuming this has got to be Athena support, Odin jungle, Bologna solo. I mean, if I had to put my odds there, I think that's probably the most you know competitive way you could take this. But how you mentioned Geb solo was a thing earlier today with his aspect. There's a lot of different ways this could be taken, so I'm excited to see what they make of things. But 5-on-5 here, AB, what are you looking at and where are you putting your odds if you had to bet?
Yeah, so both teams very different identities, right? Eternal Vanguard almost exclusively drafting out of that quote unquote squishy tab, though some of these guys will probably build tanky, obviously. And then Fallen Angels doing the polar opposite. Two Guardians, two Warriors, and then a little Donza sprinkled in up top. Big fan of Baba's just because I like the way Odin performs down here. I think it's going to do well. But I mean, with the picks on this crew team, or excuse me, this Eternal Vanguard team, that it definitely could be Evie's game as well. But I do kind of side with Bobbas here. I think that Odin's going to have some pretty big impact, especially with Testai on the pick, who we know is usually pretty good down here. I think we're going to get a lot of value out of these gauges.
So, all right, we've got thrown a lot of curveballs in the span of just a second
Yep.
loading into this game. Here, for those of you just now joining us, Fallen Angels up against Eternal Vanguard, game one of the Enkidu division set here in Babylon Smite League. Morty and AB doing the cast, and behind the scenes is CafeKatArt. I mean, there's a lot to love about what's going on here, but let's take a look here. I'll break down a couple things. This is Apollo aspect in solo. Crazy. Even crazier, aspect of war on Athena, who's in the jungle. Also crazy. He set support, which is, pretty reasonable. And you already mentioned Puppy Girl Ashlyn picking up aspect of calamity on Geb and taking Geb into carry. I mean, this is such a crazy set.
Yeah, all the predictions we had, the first six picks are just already wrong. I think besides the Bologna was going solo. I think you called that one, and then everything else was a toss up.
Yeah.
We had some thoughts about Geb Aspect, but like I said earlier, was just in solo lane, so who knows? The thing that gets me though, besides all these different gods and obviously being in very, very strange places, is that our Apollo aspect is actually starting Death Toll into damage, which is not something you see. You may see Apollo aspect in the solo lane, but usually not doing this double damage start like that. Usually a little bit
Mhm.
tankier.
I'm kind of wondering how the laning phase goes now that Apollo is a lot squishier, but does have a lot more damage to boot to maybe shut down Depth's clear. I feel like that's got to be the reason, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's got to hope to try to out clear and just avoid boxing here because Bologna into an ADC. Normally, I'd be like, man, feels bad. We picked Apollo and then Bologna counterpicked it. But Bologna went first overall and then we took Apollo.
And I know that Tess loves these funky support picks. Tess just never wants to play the meta gods. Tess is so big on I want to play whatever I want to play and make it look good. Tess just refuses to play meta for the most part. Ever since I've been seeing them doing Smite 1 comp, this seems to be the theme. And this is kind of exactly what we're seeing with this Odin support. Odin's a pretty strong god regardless. I mean, all day throughout Smite Prime, he was getting banned away. And now that Odin is available for the take and Tess is going to utilize that, but just throw it into support. Why not, right?
I mean, if the pick performs well and you're a high performer, right, doesn't really matter where you are. And like you said, Tess loves doing stuff like that. And you can already see the pressure that they're just generating onto this duo lane. I mean, they're standing at tower line while the minions clash in the middle of the lane. When they do walk up, Tess is hit, I think, just about every spear, getting poked out. This is not a very good, comfortable start for this EV side, whereas Fallen Angels, I mean, they're kind of living large right now.
Skirmish in mid lane, 2-on-2 as the junglers show up over there, but no low health bars as of yet. Mommy Mousy going to utilize the clone to get out of there and escape in the nick of time, but Depths is extremely low on health. I guess the damage from that Apollo, Death Toll, and Axe has really been paying off because Depths down to 100, no pots left to utilize. I mean, that's got to be a bit of a shock there.
Yeah, wasn't expecting that, and now an early gank, but it looks like Medusa is going to be the first one to go down here, jumping away for safety and
No!
somehow going to leap to freedom, I guess. But guess what
Nah,
would
roll
save?
out and utilize. Slams back down, and Hydra's dead. First blood goes to Fallen Angels, but Banana Band is going to find a kill on Test Die. Isn't going to be first blood, so a little bit of extra gold goes the way of Fallen Angels, but still, eye for an eye trade.
Yeah, 1 for 1. Our ADC gets first blood, and we lose the support for it. And then of all the supports that they could be playing, it's Odin. So at the 6-7 minute mark, regardless, you're gonna end up having that cage, whether they're 06 or 037. It doesn't matter. Odin clicks 4, and he has team fight impact. Difference maker though is if this Geb gets ahead and has a full item or two online before this Medusa can get there, this lane is as good as over.
You know, one thing I didn't think about going into this. So obviously, we can see through basic abilities that the only god on the side of Eternal Vanguard that can go over or under the Odin cage is Honeybats with the somersault. That's the only way, right? But imagine this in a perfect world where Apollo can hit the ult right at the sweet time, and then you can bring in two friends with you. Then you just dash out of the Odin cage. I mean, that is a perfectly valid response and might be one of the best ways that Apollo could use his ultimate, the chariot, throughout the game. As Firebrands get picked up by Eternal Vanguard, they get the first round, but plenty more will respawn before the Moonlight Queen shows up later.
Yeah, and I think Eevee kind of has to hope that that comes into play at least once or twice, going with only the singular shell from this E set here. So not a whole lot of response if they just decide, hey, all right, shell's down, I'll be back in 55 seconds, because the cooldown items being the way that they are, this Odin gets ult back really, really fast. So I'm already in Lemon's ear telling him, like, hey, buddy, it's your ADC player. When I get trapped in the cage, please click the 4 button. And if he doesn't have it, I hope ESET's close. And I hope ESET's really, really good. Because if not, maybe a very, very dead Medusa.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to take some sweet timing and also even coming up with a thought. For all we know, I mean, this is just big brain Morty talking, and maybe a medium brain Lemon isn't going to have that idea, using the dash to get away from the Scourge and the Hammer as well. I mean, a lot of damage being put out from Depths is now Blame Lemon is getting a bit of a damage check. Earlier, we saw Depths extremely low, and now Lemon has the shoe on the other foot.
Yeah, it kind of feels bad to back here, too. Oh, and there's the Odin ult. Shell being used, so there's the one escape. It's gone. I'll see you in 50 seconds. Like that's it. We rotate for a mid 3v3. We want to contest some harpies or some oracles or something like that, and that's just a guarantee now going to be trapped in it.
Well, at least XP goes the way of Fallen Angels. They're able to utilize the mid camp there. But around the corner is Banana Band ready to find a kill on Test potentially. Circle of Protections is out, followed by the Fear No Evil, and Test seems to be in a whole heap of trouble. No jump left to utilize. Cataclysm trying to let Puppy Girl Ashlyn get some space, but Lacerate to follow through, rooted and locked down to half health. But Ashlyn is able to find some safety under the Tier 1 tower. Test not so fortunate. Gold Fury seems to be the prize after picking up one kill in duo side, but I don't think that Mommy Mousy or Puppy Girl Ashlyn can even get there to contest as the burn begins from all 5 members. Blame Lemon ulted all the way from solo just to show up and help with the burn. I mean, hey, if you want a piece, it's there. I'd say it's worth.
I mean, at that point, if you're under tower and stuff like that, you have your fast, which I'm assuming he does, and that's why we just burnt it like that. No, I lied. He's walking. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, if you have your fast, depending on how fast you can get through that, you don't even have to worry about missing too many minions. Walking back, he probably misses a wave for it, but, I mean, on the off chance that Fallen does decide to contest down their duo lane, would have been nice. Just a little bit of extra protection this time, not needed, but I don't hate the idea of Lemon just getting in his head, hey, I'm a double damage built Apollo, like I can rotate out. I'm level 7. Even though I'm a little behind in my lane at this point, I am still competitive damage wise, right? With this Death Toll for sustain, aspect for the tankiness, and then Golden Blade as well.
Okay, fight going on. Testai goes into the jungle, does land a stun onto here. One thing that sticks out to me right now, a big stick, is that Fuego My Ego has 0 player damage at 6.5 minutes, going on to 7. I think I understand. Look, it's a little bit hard. You need to get some itemization online, but Hydra's is there, and with that, plus your passive, Athena's going to have some decent damage to boot. I'd say start showing up to lanes. You got to make your presence known. You even have an ultimate with the Aspect of War that lets you teleport onto enemies and kill them from there. You can literally jump onto enemies from anywhere on the map. It's a global ultimate. I'd say use it. Let's find an opportunity. Let's take advantage of it.
I'm with you. He's definitely got some boom, especially we've seen Athena's go this aspect in the past, even in Babylon last season, right? One or
Mhm.
two items and those Hydra procs or Polly deciding on which direction, and there goes Hydra off camera, the 1v1, and Geb wins it without dropping to half health. But
Oof.
even now, looking around for this Athena, and Athena is behind this engage in mid.
Fighting over the mid lane beacon, there is three members from each side. In goes. Look at Banana Band with the Fear No Evil. Locks somebody in a very hard position. Dep's forced to use Eagle's Rally to jump over the wall. Banana Band looking to run away, but Testai jumps in. Doesn't land a whole lot, but finally uses the Odin Cage. Phantom Shell used as well in response. Not a lot of escape tools for Eternal Vanguard, though, aside from the tier 1 tower, meaning that the mid lane beacon will go the way of Fallen Angels. But it looks like Fuego showed up a little bit too late. I think the Fuego wanted to party, but Fallen Angels might have tapped out a little bit too early.
Yeah, got his 1,000 damage in, so he's got that going for him. He's just got Ra's beads. Yeah, he tried to chase down the Humbots. Humbots goes over walls. He doesn't. It was a very, very short-lived chase. Tries to go back for the counter engage, and Lemon's just sitting there waiting for him. And like we said, double damage, man. That's a real hunter. We can't just stand in front of that guy with Hydras and expect to
Right.
just live. So he gets put down, and I mean, they got the mid objective, little win, but doesn't feel too good. I mean, they got Humbots beads, raw beads, and ESET shell, so could look for a counter engage, but I'd say all in all, definitely a loss for this fallen team.
9 minutes into the game, 2-3 with a minimal goal lead, almost negligible to talk about as we go into a combat pause. Looks like somebody's having some issues. I could have swore that we took care of bathroom breaks earlier on, but I guess we're wrong.
Yeah, you hate to see it, but I guess this is just what comp has fallen to. Pauses in the middle of games every game, man. It feels bad.
So it looks like we're getting tech issues, and one of the players' games had crashed. It's in beta. It's bound to happen. It's all right. These things happen, and these things go down. And we're not seeing too decisive of a game yet, AB. It looks like it could really go either way. A couple exchanges here and there make me think that, I mean, this game could go either or. No real lead. But I wonder who you think our power players are. If anybody's going to gather a lead, who do you think it's going to be?
I mean, so far, Banana Ban has shown presence in every single lane but solo, and his solo laner is a damage building Apollo, so I wouldn't want to be there either. Successful gank in duo, got not the first blood, the return kill for first blood. Just had a really, really good fight there in mid. Got the Athena killed and punished for chasing him. He's had a lot of impacts positively in these fights, and deathless so far in the game. 2 level lead for him already at the 8 minute 45 second mark. I'd like to see him snowball it. He's got the itemization to do so. Hydras, especially into, like we said, these immobile comps, right? We've got a Geb for rollout, but you still got to charge that up a little bit. So would love to see him have a good game. And then obviously, speaking of the Geb, Puppy Girl Ashlyn 2-0 and up 3 levels in this ADC lane. So both teams with a big lead, very, very different roles. Humbots needs to spread it around, and Sinlin needs to hunker down and expand.
Yeah, and it's going to be a hard pick to utilize as far as carrying games. And we usually know this Geb carry pick to help out with objective burn and maybe impact team fights in a pretty big way with some CC and a decent amount of damage to boot. But it's hard to see Geb aspect of Calamity and think this is our hyper carry. You know what I mean? When I think hyper
No, I'm with
carries,
you.
I'm thinking Jingwei. I'm thinking Neath, maybe. I mean, there's a couple ideas here, but it's just I don't know. This skip pick might not be your hyper carry, but at this point, you might not have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, 3 level lead, if they're not the hyper carry, then they're a really, really good supporting cast. And with that jungler starter, like you said, help with that objective damage 3 level lead. I don't know. I mean, I'd be throwing wards on Gold Fury pretty much on spawn, waiting there with 3 or 4 of my members, just begging for a fight to happen, right? Let's force them into the role that we've got our lead in and see if we can expand it out. Because if we can get Geb in a fight that looks good, maybe Mousy gets a kill and gets a lead in mid, and then we're talking about Donza being a hyper carrier. Maybe Fuego can turn around a very, very slow start. I want to see something happen where we've got the lead, and so far we've taken a fight in mid, but the people taking place are at the time 0 damage Athena, Mama Mousy, who had a very good rocket, but unfortunately is just not enough to play around so far in this game.
As we're just about done with our pause here, Chad, we do have one of our players back, just waiting on the captains to confirm they're ready. And we'll be back in just a moment. I know this is how you mentioned the toilet bowl. Everybody's excited to see this set go down. I mean, we got to be ready to see this go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very fast paced so far. Not too many kills, only 5, which is way less than I expected. But I mean, there's constant little skirmishes happening here and there. A little bit of fight for oracles, little fight for the mid objective, which had a couple kills, and then obviously duo lane already 4 deaths there. 4 of the 5 deaths in this entire lobby. So hopefully it starts translating to a little bit bigger things. We see an actual lead because 58 gold isn't going to do it for anyone.
So one buff I do want to mention for Fallen Angels is that I did say earlier today when we got onto the cast, I spent all day. I woke up at 7 this morning to cast Smite Prime and got to watch the top dogs in the EU go at it. And you know who was right there with me? Testai, the support for Fallen Angels. So they know all the best builds. We saw the best players build their items, and now we know, okay, if the best players are building this, then we should take this into our games. And one item being picked up here is Learny Bow from Puppy Girl Ashland. So that trickle effect is already happening. Same thing with Hydras going the way of Fuego, and even this Golden Blade I think we saw once today. One that we didn't see was Lifebinder on Odin, but we also didn't see Odin today. Odin was banned all day, so maybe that is the secret tech, and Tess might be cooking up something that I don't know better than they do. But I guess we'll find out as the game goes on.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if someone like is borderline professional, like if I see some prod cook up a build and he's doing it against other people for real life money, then I'll probably trust that build. Maybe when they're on their Twitch and they're streaming their ranked games and casual games and they're taking money requests for builds and gods, maybe I don't copy those. And it looks like we're unpausing, but yeah, definitely agree with you on Tess, right? If we're taking screenshots and DMing our teams like, hey, the third highest ranked person across all of Smite 2 that is competing for money builds this, probably should build that.
Right, exactly. As we make our way into the game, and
Uh-oh.
a gank goes on to Puppy Girl Ash, and this could be big trouble. Using rollout and going through the side lane, but will you find safety through there? Doesn't land the knockup, but does use Cataclysm to try and maybe get out here. Stone Shield followed as well, and Ashley does know where to go. She's going to try and fight her way out of this, and look at the damage being cranked. Not enough to get a kill out, but I mean, the damage lowered the health on Banana Band and Hydra down to 200 both, and now Testai can clean up the scraps that they can hit an ability, but the sun lands through the spear, and the Odin Cage followed as well. You're stuck in here with me, and Mommy Mousy cleans up on Hunbats all the way in the back, and the Cage will let Fuego show up just in the nick of time to take down Meat Shoes as well. Now, Biard is around the corner, but with all of these bodies dead on the side of Eternal Vanguard, Gold Fury surely to be looked at in just a moment. Do we clean up Raw first? Do we just start the burn? Looks like the burn is the move as we begin it here down to 4,000, and Biard isn't even nowhere near that Gold Fury. I don't even think he knows this could be FA's first Gold Fury here, and all 5 show up.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Mommy Mousy and we're paused again. I hate it. I hate everything about this. Mommy Mousy just made one of those plays where the fact that it works means it's great, right? We have ESET being CC'd by our Odin, and we drive our rocket all the way through the tier 1 tower and just leave Odin to his own devices. If he had dropped the Hunbots kill and ESET somehow got away, which obviously didn't happen, we would have been slamming Mousy like, hey man, he's stunned right in front of you. What are you doing? But it ends up working out great, right? Banana Band gets killed, so that makes up for it a little bit with the Geb death. Obviously not great, but it is what it is. Still a 2-level lead for this Geb, so all in all, not that bad considering we're about to get a gold. That ESET dies anyway, and then Biart too scared to rotate in because, like you said, there's 3 people there. Probably not a fun time for him, so it all ends up working out great, and Mommy Mousy gets a really, really big kill onto this Humbots.
Gold Fury finally finishes the burn after the pause, and it goes the way of Fallen Angels. And now pretty even on gold. As a matter of fact, you're at 10 minutes. FA have the gold lead. It's not by much. It's about 1,000, a little bit less than that, but still, it's a decent position for them to be in, considering Firebrands are going to be up here in just a moment. If FA make their way over there as well, I mean, that snowball could slowly but continue to develop. And that's good news considering, I mean, these are gods that you want to get to late game fast. Bologna's only going to get better as the game goes on. Same thing with Danza. I mean, even this get pick is going to do pretty well. The more itemization you get online, the more you're going to be able to crit, and the more you're going to be slamming basics. So, I mean, I think we just try and get to late game as quick as possible, and this hyper farm strategy is probably the move.
I'm with you, and especially with the way that dual lane's been going right now, already 6 of the 8 kills taking place with the 4 people that belong in dual lane. Going rage first or second item on this Geb, I mean, potential to stack this very early and go into the mid game with a 5-stack rage, but Mommy Mousy just got annihilated. But the raw snipe not going to connect. Fear no evil from Humbots on the chase, and he does get him. Mommy Mousy falling for their first death of the game.
First death for Mommy Mousy. Another kill going towards Eternal Vanguard. To try and even the odds, they don't get too much out of it because there's nothing on the map left to take. There's no camps to steal away from the enemies aside from the oracles here in mid, but it grants vision on the Gold Fury that just got taken, so you don't get any vision on an objective. And the Firebrands just got taken as well. I mean, Pyro's going to be up here in just a moment, but EV are going to have to back and spend the gold they just earned and then maybe go back to burn the Pyro. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely curious to see what they end up pulling here. Mommy Mousy already up. I mean, dying at 10 minutes. His death cooldown was like 20 seconds. Not that big of a deal. The one thing I want to point out is just looking at the ward coverage on this map. Never mind, there's another fight, and Raw's dead. No, he's not.
Oh no, wait, oh my god, he's barely alive, but not gonna settle for that. Donza Rocket takes it past the tier 1. Down goes BR to the blink of an eye. Banana Band says it had a bit late to the party, but Tess might be bringing the party to Banana Band. Banana is getting struck on though. Decent damage comes through from Fuego Maego, but I don't think we find any more kills after that. Just the one on BR's head top, and we settle from there. Purple buff just now came up, and Fuego wants to seal it away. The damage is online, but Fuego missed the taunt. Goodness, that would have locked Hydra in place enough for Ashlyn to show up and kill Medusa, but it is what it is. These things happen. We're an Enkidu. People miss the abilities. We just got to get over it, right? But look at who just went way out of position. Was that a fear? No, it was not a fear no evil. But, I mean, there's still abilities up. There's still ultimates online from both sides. Fallen Angels continuing to retreat because Eternal Vanguard have the man advantage on the left side of the map. So retreating is a smart move. We'll farm up and call it from there. We'll meet you back at Firebrands here in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, take the wins where you can get them, right? We got a very, very quick kill onto this Raw. I thought he was almost out, but Mousy is getting active with this Rocket, man. Second time in 12 minutes, he has just driven past a full health T1 to chase down a kill, and he hasn't been punished for it a single time. If they're not going to kill me for going between a T1 and T2 at 10 minutes, man, then you may as well live there. And so far, it's just paid dividends for them. Both kills coming off these rocket dives and getting him a little lead here in this mid lane gold-wise. So we'll be able to see if he continues to do this or if EV starts to adapt a little bit and maybe punish him. But so far, coming up aces.
13 and a half minutes. We'll call it 14 minutes into the game. And diving into the right side, 3 members of Fallen Angels. Testai jumps in, followed by an Odin Cage. Gonna lock one member in. That could be bad news for Blame Lemon. But retreating away after the Fear No Evil utilized. Beads pulled from 1. No more beads on Testai. Running away with what they have of their lives. Ashlyn just now showed up and hits a massive cataclysm, followed by the Shockwave and cranking numbers from there. Donza goes into the rocket, slams in and takes down Meat Shoes. Gets Bjart for a double kill. Into the air, Apollo goes. Bjart's able to find revenge on Fuego Maego from the grave, and Petrify lands through as well, looking to lock down Puppy Girl Ashlyn. That's exactly what's going to go down. The numbers game is now favoring Eternal Vanguard, so they feel confident in taking the fight, but Fallen Angels haven't left too much just yet. Look who just now got here is Depths. Eagles rally in, but doesn't find a stun. Going to have to go back to the solo lane with your tail between your legs. Overall, 2 kills go the side of EV, and it's an even transaction. I don't really know what we get out of this.
I mean, I'm not really sure either, but it's nice for EV to have a trade actually go their way or even come up even like you just said, right? They had a couple of lost fights there early. Now they have a little bit of an advantage for positioning for this Naga, but nothing really hugely major. Just nice to get that confidence back in the foot because so far it had been Fallen started, Fallen ended, and Fallen got the kills. So nice to finally come up even, get that confidence back in, and it looks like it is going to translate to a Naga pull for EV as they drop it. But I checked Lemon's build after he dunked in. I was like, wow, that's a lot of damage for a tank. No, fully committed to this damage build. Braggy second.
Slamming damage onto the Queen Naga. It's going to go to the way of Fallen Angels. They picked it up from EV after dropping it, and Dodza going into the rocket once more. Goes straight into the back line and targets Bjart, and down goes Raw once more. Puppy Girl slamming basics as well. Shockwave slams some massive damage. Hydra taken down to 10. Banana Band is dead thanks to the rocks from Geb. Another 2 kills go the way of EV, followed by the Queen Naga, and Tessai cleans up on Meat Shoes. I mean, this is just looking so good for FA right now. Their mid game is succeeding more and more. Ashlyn diving deep into the backline, able to take down 4 members of Eternal Vanguard, and the only one left is Hydra. Tail between, I should say, snake tail between the legs they don't have, because Medusa's a snake, and Pyromancer going the way of Fallen Angels as well. These people just can't stop winning.
Yeah, that's how you break a game open, right? Even trade, they pull Naga in your face. No, they wasted 2 ults trying to steal that Naga from them. Fallen saw that, full engage, and I'm not sure if Mousy and Ashlyn are on a first name basis or what their situation is. But Mousy needs to send a postcard and possibly their favorite snacks to this Geb. 5 health, Geb rolls into 4, ults them off, and then Mousy lives because Medusa still turns and focuses this Geb. So I don't know what the relationship is, but that has to be at least 17 brownie points for Ashlyn there. Just utterly saved that Danza.
Life is good if you're a member of Fallen Angels. If you're Eternal Vanguard, you haven't lost a whole lot, but it is time to lock in. No way, the ult's being used from Fuego, diving straight onto Hydra, and a massive crit. One more basic, diving into the tower. The 3 lands down, and dead is Hydra into the enemy jungle, but look who's caught onto the cases. Banana Band walking straight through. There's no way that Fuego can handle this fight, so Banana Band finds revenge, and that's 1 kill for each side here on the left. But, I mean, there's a lot on the map to fight for, including this Gold Fury, which just got taken by Fallen Angels yet again. The objective gameplay from FA is what makes them better. The kills are pretty even for the most part, but macro is the name of the game, and Fallen Angels love to play that game.
Yeah, so far 1 objective total has gone to EV, and it was that Gold Fury. Everything else has been Fallen, and it's been Fallen all of the time. The fights are going their way. Their worst fight, like you said, is a 2 for 2, and right now they're about to get another 1 for 0. It's all Fallen all the time, besides the 1 fight they went even in. That is their only downside, was a 50-50 play. It's just dominance. I mean, Eevee's trying to respond, right? We see Banana Band's getting active. He's trading out some of these kills, but the guys who are dying are his laners. So now Banana Band, sure, he's got the lead, but now his mid's down 2 levels. His ADC's still down 2 levels. His support's down 3. I mean, there's just only so much he can do as this Humbots, and he's doing the vast majority of what he can. It's not coming up even right now.
18 and a half. We'll call it 19 minutes in. 13-9 is the kill count, and an 8K gold lead for Fallen Angels. Up 1 Gold Fury as well. Mousy's got damage to boot. Same thing with Ashlyn. And Fuego is slowly starting to crank some damage numbers up and really show up on the player damage charts as they continue to walk forward up the mid lane and go straight towards the tier 1 tower. Down to the fall. Into the back line goes Fuego. Hits a pretty nasty confound, but not a lot of follow-up through FA. I guess that wasn't communicated, because I feel like there was some opportunity there, but nobody really from FA available and nearby to follow through. So it is what it is. You know, you call it how you see it, but Fire Giant up, available, online, ready for the taking. FA will go for the Constellation prize. The Pyromancer, it's probably a lot easier to burn anyways.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of what Ashlyn's doing right now, right? Medusa won't push the lane. The tier 1's already dead in duo lane. They're probably communicating because, I mean, their objective pulls are great, so I'm assuming this is communicated, that they're looking at this Pyro on spawn. Rotates over 45 seconds. They get the tower, free even more space up for these objective pulls, and they're just uncontested on that. We've got zoners that can't see the enemy gods because they're hiding on the other side of the walls. No one from EV besides Banana Band seems to really want to get in there, and I don't think Banana wants to get in there anymore either.
Yeah, Banana Band, even though he's a little bit higher on kills, he's up a level from Fuego. So the rest of the team from FA just kind of wipes Banana Band off the map unless he plays his cards right. You got to think, look at the team comp on the side of EV, right? And they do really well in team fights should they communicate and get everything done as a group. You want to try and chain their ultimates. Fear no evil, followed by the Hyper Beam because Ra's got easy targets because they're feared. And then Meat Shoes are going to utilize Circle of Protections, Petrify from Hydra. These are all team fight ultimates that work really well when used together, but it's about communicating and actually doing it. It looks good on paper. Now it's time to execute.
And right now, Sinolin getting jumped over here in dual lane, but just look at the numbers, man. Even through
Wow.
both alts, almost gets the Medusa. Now Athena
Wow.
ult come
No
over and clean it
way.
up. And here
Oh my
comes the
God.
rocket.
Showing up at the
Oh,
last second, but somersault over the wall will let Banana Band
he's
not
cracked.
get hit. That is correct. That is crazy. Good job on Banana Band. Just able to completely negate the rocket damage by jumping over. And that is what separates good from great Hunbat's players. Fallen Angels just now showing up, but no more fight to be had because everybody from Eternal Vanguard has already escaped. But Gold Fury about to spawn. This could be FA's third of the game if EV don't want to contest it. Hopefully they go back to base and show back up at the right amount of time. Otherwise, Fallen Angel Snowball will be enough to break down a building.
Well, right now we've got Raw at a red buff being ran at by Athena, Apollo at an empty camp, Humbot's just trying to do his backs, and ESET following along, hoping that FA doesn't actually engage and they're forced to try to peel this out because this Blown is level 17 and doesn't do much. But here's Mama Mousy again, just getting after it.
Sake Battle finds a massive taunt, followed by the Fool's Gold. That's a massive damage from Mousy, and Fuego's able to follow up and clean up on Biard. Fear no Evil online, and Mousy is locked in a corner, shut down by Meat Shoes. Odin Cage is out as well, and EV have nowhere to go. Into the back line goes Eagles rally. Depths picks up one, and Puppy Girl cleans up another. Hydra extremely low and getting chased down. One more kill goes the way of Depths. 4 dead bodies scattered across Eternal Vanguard's jungle, and Fallen Angels will burn the fire giant here.
Yeah, you're wondering what a 4v5 from Fallen and EV looks like right now? That's it. 1 for 4 and a Banana Band back, man. Ashland's not there at all, and they still just steamroll. It looks so good for the first 6 seconds. Donza has some crazy bursts, but we live. Then we turn on him. We even get the pick with Bologna trying to ult to peel for him. But everything after that is just landslide for Fallen. I just it looks so good at the start, but now we're at the point where it's like, okay, you gave too much, we lost too many fights, you did the best fight so far this match for your team, and it's still just not enough through this gold lead. Almost 10,000 with a Gold Fury still up on the map and 3 towers in EV that FA can just take.
What I do know is that if Fallen Angels get their hands on this third Gold Fury token, this spells extremely bad news for Eternal Vanguard because not do they only have 4 Fire Giant buffs aside from Mommy Mousy, everybody on Fallen Angels. There is a dagger in hand for Depths, but again, 3 Pyro Bombs, and then the structures are going to melt even faster because of the third Gold Fury token. So you just got to be extremely careful with Eternal Vanguard and locked into a corner. Hydra's surely going to fall here, just picked to pieces. Nowhere for them to go. Shockwave followed by a crit. Ashland is slamming damage, top of the charts when it comes to the player damage. I mean, this looks like an almost impossible game for Eternal Vanguard to come back from, but we have seen crazier Hail Mary throws from
True.
anybody in Enkidu. So, I mean, I don't want to rule anybody out just yet.
No, I'm with you on that, but like you said, this third Gold Fury token may be spelling the beginning of the end if the beginning of the end wasn't said like 20 minutes ago, it feels like. I mean, Raw just got picked trying to invade camps that aren't up. Apollo split pushing down to tier 2. Medusa's all the way up by themselves. Gold uncontested. I don't know if I'd have preferred if EV went and contested when they had 4 fires down 10k, but I feel like giving it and then still dying on the other side of the map just feels so bad.
I am honestly, I don't want to say shocked, but I am speechless when it comes to any ideas that Eternal Vanguard could utilize to get back in because the grouping from FA is just so good right now. It's so good. They're linking up as 5 and maybe split pushing a little bit here and there to utilize the map to its best best degree. But I mean, overall, when it comes to these big objectives, all 5 members of Fallen Angels are always there, always
Yep.
burning Gold Furies, Fire Giants, Pyromancers. They still have another bomb to work with. They've only used 2 during their recent sieging, and 1 tier 2 tower down. I mean, the rest are going to be easy pickings whenever they decide to walk forward.
Yeah, I don't think there's any world where we can walk up and defend these T2s. The moment you conceded gold, you decided, hey, we don't want to fight people with Fire Giant buff. So if we're conceding this tier 2 tower, please get away from it. Hiding behind this tower does nothing into Geb aspect that's critting for 650 through the minions, right? Let this
Mm-hmm.
go, and they start to back up as I say that. Never mind. Raw? Never mind. All right, he's leaving again now. We're making our last stand in this Phoenix. We've got an Eset, we've got a Humbots, and we've got a Medusa. So definitely a decent comp to do some defense work, but not too great. I just like you said, they're 5 at every objective, and EV with an Apollo solo isn't, and I don't understand how that math adds up.
And the final tier 2 tower burns down here. Puppy Girl Ashland makes sure of that. So nothing but Phoenixes defending the Titan that is in the Titan room of Eternal Vanguard. Fire Giant about to spawn once more. I think that's probably the smartest move for Fallen Angels. Let the rest of that Fire Giant buff go away, reset, and burn the FG once more and march it down from there. I mean, after that, really the only thing that they don't have is EFG. But even a Fire Giant buff at this point of the game should be enough to just let them run in there and do as they please.
Especially when you consider the 14,000 gold lead, which I imagine most of is probably just sitting in their pockets. 3 tier 2s, Pyro, and the Medusa kill probably still weighing heavy in some of these guys' item bags. Yeah, smooth 1,600 in Gebs and 13 for Odin, who just backed, and everyone else obviously very low. They just backed as well. But let's get our items online, grab up some wards, go to this fire pit. You're up 14K. If they walk in, you deicide them. Uh, Next game. It's just Eevee has a chance because the game isn't over, but that might be the only thing I'd say is in their favor.
27 minutes in and a 9 kill lead and a 14K gold lead for Fallen Angels. And the snowball, what started off as maybe something you could stack a couple on top of each other, build a nice little Frosty the Snowman. Now we can take down corporate offices. I mean, this is bad news for Eternal Vanguard. I really don't know. Aside from maybe picking one member out, Fuego just ulted into mid lane. I mean, I guess we're applying split pressure, and Fear No Evil utilized after the Odin cage locks him in place, and into the rocket goes Mommy Mouse. He slams right into the wall. Drunk driving? Somebody get this guy a breathalyzer. That is a little scary. You're going to be on the roads with that level of intoxication, but Depths finds a kill. Down goes Hydra. 2 members dead of Eternal Vanguard so far. Fuego diving into the back line all alone, so Fuego just got shut down. You might need to wait for your team there, friendo.
No, definitely agree. And if you saw, they tried to do the Apollo alt tech that you mentioned in this very early game. They tried. Fortunately, Lemon just not able to get up to the skies. You know, Chariot's super heavy as they are. God of the Sun just can't pull that off with at least 2 seconds to wind up. But all in all, 1 for 2. Lose Fuego, that feels bad. It does. He was a shutdown, but it's not any of our big names right now in this game, right? Depths is deathless, and he has had insane pressure on this Bologna. Mommy Mousy, while drunk driving, is still 6-2 while shooting at 3 different gods, all named Medusa. And Geb is 6-3. So something about the intoxication is lining up, and this FA team is up 16K with Fire on 4, and only Phoenix is remaining.
Aside from Fuego, Fire Giant buffs on every member of Fallen Angels, and Obsidian Dagger in hand of Test Die. Maybe they go for Ancient one more time for debuff birds. I mean, that's really the only thing they can do, but they need a group to do so. And Puppy Girl Ashton's on the right side of the map. Let's link up. You don't even need these camps. We're all level 20. Now we're just being greedy. Come on, guys.
One more camp, one more minion, one more kill. The mantra of Smite competitive that ends up translating to a loss. But up this much, man, if we lose because we grabbed the Naga camp, there was a whole lot of other mistakes that happened as well. All 3 Phoenixes debuffed. Like we said, they have a little bit of a decent defense over there on EV. There's definitely some tools that we can use to make this potentially a win. The problem is Fallen also has a whole lot of tools, and one of them is Odin ult, which completely negates your ESET ult's healing, which is very, very necessary in a Phoenix defense when you're down 18,000 gold.
Puppy Girl just went back for Time Lock Aegis and wards. You don't need a ward. What are you going to do? Ward the enemy Titan room? Just go run it down. We're 30 minutes in. It's time to win.
Everyone knows you have to max the wards so that way when you kill the Titan, you can place them and make the screenshots better. All right. Maybe this is just Gilgamesh and below tech, but on winning teams, that is a com that happens in the Titan siege. Oh, this is bad.
Oh my god, Odin Cage locked through. This could be the final fight of the game. A massive Hyper Beam melts down Testice's health bar in quick time, but Ashlyn finds a kill. Ashlyn finds two. Mousy slams right into Hydra. Meat Shoes is dead, and blink and you'll miss it. A deicide going the way of Fallen Angels, and surely this has got to be game here.
Yep, and I'm looking, if Geb places the wards, I'm even more happy. But yeah, it was an idea. I love that idea 21 minutes ago, right? It was a great plan when we weren't down entire items in every single role, right? We knew they weren't grouped. The Athena was pushing mid, and we saw an opportunity. Apollo's like, hey, man, hop in. We're going to try to just explode these guys, maybe get a couple kills, maybe just slow down that fire push, if not stop it, depending on who we get. Unfortunately, just way too big a mountain to climb at this point. I like the idea. I like the urgency of, hey, let's try to make a play. We don't like our Phoenix defense. Let's just roll the dice on this while they're four. It's too big a difference this late into the game, man. It's just not enough. And FA looking like a team that should be undefeated, let alone winless. I have no idea what this roster is, but you're telling me that a game like that, these guys can't pull a set?
Well, the Titan for Eternal Vanguard fell at the 31-minute mark, making it a record-breaking 31-minute game, the fastest game in Enkidu division history. No, I'm just kidding. But still, it's definitely a pretty quick, pretty close if we're being completely honest. But that was just game one. For those of you just now joining us, we've got more competitive Smite on the way. Fallen Angels have gotten the win on game one, but game two still needs to be decided. But before we get there, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes. Do not go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to BSL, the Babylon Smite League. We're here to watch Game 2 of the set between Eternal Vanguard and the Fallen Angels here in the Enkidu Division. My name's Morty, and I'm joined here by Airborne. Here with me in the booth, and behind the scenes, taking care of all the fancy stuff you see on screen, is CafeKatArt. How are we feeling, AB?
I mean, after that game one, man, confused and possibly a little dumb. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, I thought that we were coming in here for a toilet bowl, and it seemed like Fallen Angels came in like they were competing for finals. So not really sure what's going on there. We'll see if they can continue that. I mean, dominance into this game too, and if EV adjusts a little bit around and see if they can do anything a little different to possibly change that result. But Thorban again, Disco and Soul gone, and I guess we'll see what Game Two has in store for us.
And bands already going underway. We're knocking out the power picks that we might see from what seems like a lot of mid laners, right? Soul, Disco, Hikate, and Thor, probably a target band for Banana Band.
Yeah, Banana Band is nasty on the store, and unfortunately for them, they showed that a lot in Scouts. So I'd imagine and I'd hope that they don't get that too often. And Fallen Angel seems very, very content to ensure that he at least does not get it this set. And I don't blame them because even though his team was down an absurd amount of gold, Banana Band actually had a lead in that jungle for quite a while. So Istrad's interested to see if maybe he can get a little bit more help or maybe he can translate that lead into, let's say, this duo lane where Ashland just had an insane game.
And waiting on more bands to go through. We do have vault bands on screen, by the way. For those of you new to what we've got going on here, there are vault bands on screen, meaning that all the gods that you see here in the middle were played in game one and can no longer be played for the remainder of the set. So those 10 gods, along with the 3 on each side of your bottom corners, respectively right and left, then those 16 gods cannot be played. So we're scraping the bottom of the barrel of our god pools to make sure that the set goes our way. Just so y'all know, the sixth band, the third for Fallen Angels, is Chiron. We don't have an image for it, but we do have the band in our minds and hearts.
Yeah, I liked it. Why give them something crazy good if we don't have to? That's the whole point of bans. And with a lot of
Right.
these gods already gone, the second choice behind Chirons for some of these players is obviously already gone too, particularly in this ADC department because gods like Apollo were just played in this solo lane. But Cuckoo, potentially mid normal or maybe aspect in solo or jungle, we're already back to just trying to put the round circle into a square peg as we try to guess these Enkidu rules.
Okay, so Kukulkan is here along with Newt and Ares. I was just thinking about that last game. That Newt was. Here's the thing. I know that Newt is an extremely strong god. I casted Tiamat yesterday. Newt was utilized in the one game that Newt was allowed in before Vault bans, wouldn't let her go through. And then all day on Smite Prime today, Newt wasn't banned, but was picked in every single game that I casted this morning. And with that much pick ban potential, you would think that Newt would be at least banned or at least picked in one of these games. But I guess that Fallen Angels were saving the Newt pick for game two. Probably going to be utilized by Mommy Mousy, but maybe even Puppy Girl Ashlyn over in duo. You never know.
Yeah, it's shown up in both roles so far down here in Enkidu, so interested to see which role it decides to go to, but a little bit more clarity on this EV side, because I'm just going to assume that Merlin is not going to be the ADC today. So it looks like it will be Cuckoo Aspect, hopefully, in jungle or solo, Cupid ADC, and Merlin mid. So not quite as foggy as it was this time last game during the P's and B's. It looks very clear cut for everyone besides, Cuckoo could go two places, Nut could go two places. And now that's a Poseidon. If it's locked, this Nut is ADC. There's no way. Mommy Mousy's taking Poseidon mid. I'd be willing to bet triple figures on it.
Okay. So Poseidon, Chalk joining the battle. Maybe this is Poseidon jungle. I did see that today, and Fuego is known to have some pretty wonky jungle picks, if I do say so myself. We saw Aspect Athena jungle last game. Poseidon jungle could be the move. We saw that a couple times in Smite Prime today, so there's a pretty good possibility. But also Poseidon mid, definitely a possibility as well. Hell, I mean, even Puppy Girl Ashlyn could pick up Poseidon aspect and
It's
take that
true.
over into
It's true.
duo. I mean, there's really just so many odds. I feel like this is how AB for the past like 3 months, this is how every picks and bans phase goes. Is that like you're just assuming based on all the aspects that change up roles. No way we're seeing Aladdin and Enkidu. What?
This is it. This is the dust off old faithful Aladdin. Currently a pick at your own risk god because of some of the little wonky things going on with them, but going to see some playtime. Banana Band going from what was a super team centered Humbots over to this Aladdin looking to blow people up. I'm hoping this has to be jungle and cuckoo aspect solo, right? It has to be. No, I'm just gonna go like that's the case. So
Right.
Banana Band looking to get a little bit more of that burst out, and I don't hate it. Uh, but with how much our team was struggling with the team, team fight helping hum bots, I don't know if this is going to end up being the way, or if he's going to ult, let's say Chalk, and then before he's done with Chalk, four other people are in the lamp. And looking at this Fallen Angels team, man, that's a lot of damage. Nut, Poseidon, and now Neath and I lost triple figures. Fuego took Poseidon ADC. That's it. I didn't shake on it. Or Poseidon Jungle. Sorry. I didn't shake on it, though, so it's all good. Surely.
Okay. So we're utilizing aspect of the cosmos on Puppy Girl Ashlyn. So probably a crit build there. Mommy Mousy utilizing this Neath pick. I'm a big fan of Mousy taking a lot of physical damage dealing gods into mid, and then we utilize a magical god over in duo. So you're not lacking on either damage on the team, but using the physical gods in the mid lane allows you to get more damage off in the middle, and you're usually able to farm a little bit easier because your basics are just automatically going to deal a little bit more damage. You're playing a carry, you know what I mean? Essentially just
Yep.
in mid. That's what this Neath pick is. So you get a little bit better clear. You do have a lot of poke damage on top of that. I mean, there's a lot to love here.
No, I'm with you. And we just saw what they did on the Donza, which is also known to be a physical, bursty god. And I mean, Neath has been a staple in mid probably since Smite 1, if not like
True.
the second year of Smite 1, right? This god performs well in mid lane and keeps gravitating back to it. They gave it an aspect. They're like, no, it'll go ADC. No, no one's playing that. It's still going mid, borderline all the time. And the numbers don't lie, man. This god wins and it hits really, really hard. Pair that with a Poseidon and an Ares in this mid 3v3, and it's dangerous as we see a level 1 trade here between Merlin and this Neath. Neath didn't win that one, but it is a Merlin at level 1, so you can't really blame the god.
Yeah, Bjart's playing like a rat right there. Honestly, that is some rat gameplay. But you know what? When you're down a set, you got to do what you got to do. I'm not mad at Bjart whatsoever. Sometimes you got to go to rat strats to win the game. So that's what it takes. I'm a big fan too. There's a lot of aspects to talk about. We not only covered the aspect of the cosmos, aspect of fulmination from depths provides some anti-heal onto rain dance, which negates a lot of the healing that Michu's will be putting out with this emoji pick, or maybe some healing from the lifesteal that Cupid is bound to get, or even through his love bomb or his, the hearts. I think it's just called hearts.
I think you're right with hearts. I think you're right with hearts. I could be wrong though. I mean, either way, we both know what we're talking about, surely.
Right.
And most of the people watching. But yeah, I mean, gets the anti heal on the aspect, but also it makes this lane a lot easier into what would normally be a super hard hitting and aggressive Kukulkan, who we just saw build full damage on this Apollo last game. So already looking like it's starting with a damage here for Lemon once again, but just the safety and being able to clear as chalk aspect if he does get behind, not having to necessarily give up his lane. I mean, that rain does do quite a bit of tick damage, especially if you're leveling it. So I do like the idea.
Another thing I want to note is the aspect of the squall coming out from Kukulkan here in solo lane. Just blame Lemon utilizing that. And I have seen that from a decent amount of solo laners around. They're using, yogis on top of that. So you get a good amount of damage from mana, as well as you get some health. So you're a little bit tankier on that side. Not a bad deep dive god. And you gain some passive procs. I mean, the hybrid build for Kukulkan with the aspect of the squall really makes him a deep
Yep.
dive, kind of a monster. You might not have a too much heavy crowd control, but you still got a lot of damage to offer. I think it's an important thing for solo laners.
No, it definitely opens up the god for that solo lane role, and even saw it in jungle today earlier in the Gilgamesh set. But being able to be tanky and still do borderline full damage mage damage will always just feel good, right? We saw it when the mages were good in solo, in Smite 2, and in Smite 1. And Kukulkan aspect kind of bringing a little bit back into that solo lane where we're starting to see a little bit more predominantly warriors and guardians and more trading happening in this mid as Neath is actually freezing the wave to poke Merlin out.
Okay, so that's what you got to do. More rat strats. I'm not against it. I'm not mad about it. The rat strats are what get you dubs, and Biart's resulting to anything that he can do to make sure that the dub goes their way. Spirit Arrow off the mark, followed by Unravel, also off the mark. So not a lot of poke damage coming out from Mommy Mousy onto Biart's head top, but that's okay because Biart's going back to base anyway. I don't really think we find a kill there. We might find a kill here in duo because Tess is just chaining everybody up over here in duo. This is bad news as the chain finally expires. Hydra's able to dash away, and Meat Shoe's able to get to the safety of the tier 1 tower as well. But this dual lane pressure is in favor of Fallen Angels.
Yeah, last game, Fallen Angels ran all the pressure in duo, and this time they went Ares. So they get to do it again, right? There's not too many picks here that we can just slot in and be like, oh yeah, Ares is under tower. That's kind of the name of the game with this Ares pick. You're running forward, you're hitting chains, and you do a little flamethrower dance, and people just start melting away in front of you. Now, Nut obviously gets to prosper off of that engage or that increased little range, but also with the poke abilities that the god has, not necessarily a bad idea to have a support that can walk forward on their own and be able to do their own damage while being, I mean, generally safe into this 2v2. Obviously, at risk of a combo, but this early into the game, Cupid doesn't have that damage, and Yemo having to use Omi for clear means that they're not too big of a threat either. And I mean, if it translates to an early gold, which is definitely something they could pull off here, then it just feels awesome. And that's what they did last game, and we'll see if they can do it this game.
5 minutes in, well, 4.5, but we'll call it five just about, and still no first blood spilled. Firebrands has been killed already, but Gold Fury yet to spawn, and I'm kind of wondering when our opportune moment goes to take that down. I mean, Testai looking to get aggressive, doesn't hit the chains, really just playing up, just playing forward and scaring people away. No escape off the mark, caught in 4K, Testai.
No, he beads. He beads. Trust. He hit that. Trust.
Okay. Right. Oh yeah, beats it down. Beats it
we
down. I was
didn't.
about
We
to
didn't
say.
miss Ares
I
though.
was
We
about to
didn't.
say.
Well, like you said, no first blood, no gold fury pulled in this game. And if you look at the gold charts, FA is already up four figures, a full 1,000 gold lead, and plus a little bit of extra change on the top of that. So already out farming without any of the actual monitorable like statistics here, like no kills, no objectives. I mean, I think you just said EV got rocks, right? So even the bigger neutral objective solo side going EV's way and still down now 1,500 gold. The lead just expanding even without these kills.
As far as itemization goes, do you see anything that stands out to you yet?
Kukulkan went Book of Thoth, so just completely negated everything you said about hybrid build Kukulkan starting yogis and feeling pretty all right. We saw this earlier. Uh, I like it if we have some pressure in the lane. I don't like it when we had to early back at 45 seconds into the lane.
Mm-hmm.
If you're already losing the lane that bad, man, Book of Thoth is not going to save you. And it's not going to help you do much damage either because that is just a chalk aspect. Neath going Book of Thoth, trying to stack early. Merlin doing the same, which I feel like is a little weird. I don't think I see that too often. But mage build mage item. That's about all I got.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, mage build mage item. Get to go back. I think Hydra's been in lane just this whole time. Hasn't really utilized any of the gold that they've gotten. No way. Neathold coming from downtown looking for Hydra. Maybe Puppy Girl Ashton picks up first blood here. And ult use from Meat Shoes. The Rivers Rebuke locking some members of FA in place. And Aladdin shows up to find a kill on Puppy Girl Ashland. Into the lamp. Test die and Banana Band go. And waiting on them to come out, just respecting the 1v1. No way this goes the way of Tess, right? We're going to wait for the lamp to expire?
I mean, I think we did it for Cupid's safety, and I respecting the 1v1, but I don't think there was any world where Tess came out the victor in that 1v1, so probably pretty safe bet if you are EV. FA was able to go over and get a gank kill onto this Kukulkan, which feels kind of nice, but Kukulkan also got a kill. So doesn't feel all that nice. Fuego trading his life for that kill. All in all, a very, very positive 30-second bout for EV. That gold lead we mentioned now completely neutral once again.
Now, you say that there's not a world where Testai emerges victorious. I don't know. A triple chain might have given him enough damage. I'm just saying. I don't
Could have
know if
given him
Test
a
hit the
chance.
chain in there. We don't
Could have
have
given him a
a
chance.
way to look and replay, but we are able to talk about how Just Blame Lemon has fallen in solo, and that was a 1v1 from Debs.
Yeah, so on the gank, manages to trade his life out, and that's fine. But back to the 1v1, gets soloed. Chalk going the party crab, conch, first item. That means that is a lot of damage. Maybe not expecting it. He did just back and finish it. Maybe Lemon playing a little bit too far ahead. But yeah, man, that hurts. Especially at level 9, he looked like both used their ult, but one stacking and one isn't. So the numbers are just never going to be in your favor in these early game fights.
And at 8 minutes in now, a lot more kills have been spilled. I mean, we saw a slow game to start things off, but now there's been 5 kills on screen, 3 for Eternal Vanguard and 2 for Fallen Angels, and a 1K gold lead for FA so far. They've slowly but surely yet again been developing the macro play and trying to grab everything off the map that they can. No way to get Gold Fury just yet, waiting on an opening to make that happen. Kraken utilized from Fuego does huge damage onto
So
Bjard, takes a massive World Weaver there too, but not able to get anything done. But what we can get done is a pause. Womp womp.
this is the biggest cotton 4K combat pause I've ever seen in my life. Do me a favor, Mr. Mort. Look over at the duo lane, and looking at this, do you think Cupid is happy that this game is paused, or is he utterly terrified because he's staring at an Ares in his face?
Well, it gives them time to plan. That's really all I can think is that it gives them time to,
It's,
put something
gives him
together.
time to
All
think
right,
about it. Well,
Test
Bede's
die
down
is
for 4 seconds.
3 meters away. Yeah,
Bede's
Bede's
down
down
for
for
four
4.
seconds.
Tess is staring at me and has chains ready to go. I need to dodge these somehow. Do I weave left? Do I weave right? And around the corners, Puppy Girl Ashland as well. Just kind of like, you remember? Do you ever watch Sherlock Holmes?
Yes. Yep.
Discombobulate, like trying to figure
Yeah.
out like a game
You're
plan.
trying to outthink the thinker, but you're both on different pages and reading different books, unfortunately. If he jukes left, he runs into nut. If he jukes right, that's probably where Test Eye is assuming he'll go.
Right.
Correct answer is pray to God that Test Eye starts with ult and our beads come up soon enough. Or, I mean, I guess on pause we can't see if Test has ult, but I think they definitely do by now, right?
I don't know. I mean, there's a good chance. I can't even remember the last time that we've seen the last Tess ult. So I mean, there's a good chance.
Yeah, but
Thank you.
looks like it is another connection issue over here for this EV squad. Lemon, our solo laner, has exploded in game, but they look like they're back in, asking for the ready vote from Fallen Angels to get us back into this game. So short pause, not as bad as the gap in between games, with all the resets and stuff to try to prevent this stuff. But like you said earlier, it is a beta. Stuff like this is going to happen. You know, sometimes just something you got to deal with when games are still actively working on themselves. But we're glad that they work on themselves because it means new metas, new gods, new maps, right? Everyone loves an active game. No one wants to play the same map with the same gods and the same builds.
I put the blob gif as a response to the ready because Tess has just been taking forever to respond to that. So put that one in there. And you know what's so funny is I just now found out the other day. I don't know if you ever seen that movie Monsters vs Aliens. Oh yeah, we
Yep.
got a fight to talk about. Chained up here, Testa is able to land all 3, but not enough to really find a kill in Hydra. So back under the safety of the tier 1 tower, and no kill goes the way of Fallen Angels. Not just yet, because Bjart, who had extremely low health from the World Weaver, ended up going back to base and made it back okay. Gold Fury now getting burned by FA, and it looks like it's going to be scotch free. I mean, Ultimate's not really online for any member of Eternal Vanguard. I don't
As
think
you
there's
say
any
that, here
world
they
where
come.
there's a steal, but stampeding
Nope.
forward, that could have been a free Gold Fury. What are we doing here, Tess?
Tess hit Stampede, turned that corner, and EV ran for the nearest tower. That was the perfect like horror movie scene. You know the gif I'm talking about where they axe down the door and he sticks his head in? That was Tess right
Yeah.
there on that Ares and duo lane shrieking right back into their corner, man. Wanted absolutely no part of that. Free FA or free FA Gold Fury. So that gold lead, like you said, those little farming advantages now turning into almost a 2K lead, possibly to open up this game a little bit. But Eevee's had some fight in them this early game, so we'll see if they let this happen.
So 10 minutes in, the first Gold Fury has finally fallen, goes the way of Fallen Angels, which gives them a 2K gold lead to talk about. And that's pretty nice. I think the snowball, like we said, it's slowly but surely developing. And Eternal Vanguard not out of this game just yet, but they need to get back in control quickly. Firebrands aren't going to be enough. They're going to need a Pyromancer. They're going to need a Gold Fury. They need objectives. They need to work on their macro play. And that's something we talked about in game one as well. The macro play for it, Fallen Angels is just unmatched by Eternal Vanguard, and they need to lock in to get back in here.
Yeah, especially with the way that these fights so far have been favoring EV a little bit. I'd like us to just take some fights here, try to get us some advantage. If we're not as good as shot calling, man, they won't pull an objective if they're down 2 players. And that's just kind of has to be your hope. But right now in this duo lane, I was going to highlight it. Nut finishing that second item going Sunbeam Bow. So these auto trades getting a little less favorable for this Cupid as Lemon gets soloed off screen. Poseidon was close, but the Chalk able to do it all by himself. Though Poseidon does keep Aladdin away. Never mind. Okay,
Running
now
up
he
the
keeps
wall?
Aladdin away. Big
Okay,
wall
play,
climber guy.
Yeah, we love that. Even though the wall climb got nerfed,
Uh-oh.
no way getting caught here.
Oh,
Not
my.
Meat Shoes in a whole heap of trouble running away from there. Test I mean, put a little bit of damage out, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird exchange.
Yeah, that was I know I said Neath does big. Oh my, and there's another one. Here comes the Fields of Love from Cupid. Nut going into the sky, trying to buy a little bit of time. Heart Bomb not finishing the kill, but Merlin in the fire stance going to collect it. Purple invade successful, and a kill for this EV duo lane, or excuse me, went to Merlin. So offsetting that assist that they just got on the emotion. Trade 1-for-1 support for ADC. If you're EV, man, like you just gotta enjoy trades like that, but preferably Yemo just take a few steps back if our Merlin's not there.
But there's not much to fight over afterwards. Pyromancer is online, but it just spawned. That's a hard take for anybody on both sides. You're going to need carries either way to burn that thing down. And with so much pressure being put on a duo side, Hydra's not going anywhere. Locked down by the Kraken, taken down to half health and being chased from there. Fuego is pressing forward, but seems to be in a whole heap of trouble because look who just showed up. It's Banana Ban. Riptide locks down. Oh no, Ban killed Fuego there. No way.
Yeah, fight starts with Cupid autoing in the entirely wrong bush, so Poseidon just creeps up underneath him, gets the beads pull on this Kraken. Unfortunately, Aladdin close by, able to change what was a losing fight into a quick win. Banana Ban getting credit for that kill. Already off to a 3-0 start, man, so Banana Ban, even with his team behind, has consistently been ahead in this jungle, but even as we say that, somehow in that span of them getting the kill, FA has gained another 1,000 on this lead, and the objectives aren't being pulled, and they didn't get the kill, so we're getting beat somewhere terribly in farm, and probably more than one place, and need to clean it up here, because the fights are going your way for now, but not at this rate, and not for much longer.
Firebrands is available. Maybe the last one before Queen Naga shows up. And who's going to take it first? I mean, it's ready for either team to be there, but neither team really looking at it too much. Walking away is Banana Ban. I would be W King straight for the brands anytime you see that icon online. That's exactly what Fuego did along with Depths. But look who's here to contest. It's Biard hiding around the corner, throw some abilities over the wall, able to steal one away, but the other two go the way of Fallen Angels over the wall yet again going forward. Fuego might have been off a little bit more than he could chew. He wasn't expecting reinforcements around the corner, cracking off the mark, and Bjart dealing damage. And look at the knee hold from downtown. Rivers of Buke is out as well in a whirlpool to lock him in place, but Kikokinol in response. You want to make a lane for me? I'll utilize it, but not too much damage dealt there. Still a pretty decently healthy Depths. And Bjart is locked in a corner, nowhere for him to go. Doesn't flicker over the wall, but takes down Mousy with him. Takes Mousy with him to the grave. That is massive fight continuing here on the right side of the map. Chalk Rain Dance provides some damage, but again, the whirlwind is just too much for Depths to handle. And here comes Banana Band. Reinforcements arrive for Eternal Vanguard. The numbers game favors Vanguard. Fallen Angels take their first big loss of the game. And how do they celebrate? Maybe we go for Pyro. Maybe we go for Gold Fury. Surely we don't just farm, right?
Walking to gold right now is this Cupid. Aladdin stopping off at the speed buff, but Cupid going straight into that pit. I
Oh,
cannot believe that Chalk was the last one to die in that fight. There to start it off, ate 500 Merlin damage at the very beginning while he was still clearing the firebrands, but still somehow the last one to survive on this FA side in that fight. Nut rotating all the way over from duo, doesn't get anything for it. Looks like it is going to be a Gold Fury, and now we have to sprint to Naga because Nut is still over there on that side of the map. But EV is going to stop for Oracles on the Gold Fury that's already been taken. So no, they won't.
and down to half health. Viard is around the corner. Pressing forward is Fuego, looking to buy some space and buy some time. Down to 1,500, down to 1,000. We need to zone out Bard in quick time if we want to take this thing down. And Fallen Angels secure the Queen Naga, but a fight's going to spill over here. Into the air goes Spirit of the Nine Winds and hits Depths on the way out. Taps him on the booty before going back to Fountain and locking down Moore's Moonstrike into the lamp. Testai goes once more, but will Testai emerge victorious? No, they won't. Another kill going to Banana Band and chasing down more members of Fallen Angels. Look at the damage from Biard. It is nasty, but not nasty enough to clean up Fuego. Another kill going the way of Eternal Vanguard after Tess dies, and they're going to make their way towards the Pyromancer to get another objective. And finally, they're clearing up the macro game. This is exactly what we wanted from Eternal Vanguard. They heard my words and they made it into existence. A Gold Fury going their way and now a Runic Bomb in the pocket of Meat Shoes. Things look pretty good here.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they heard the advice, right? If you kill their players, they won't pull objectives, which means you can. We translate a fight over at that Firebrand pit to a gold, run straight over to Firebrand, or the Queen Naga, end up not getting there in time. Unfortunate, it is what it is, but we take a very good fight afterward. We get a pick. Everyone else has to back. What's that create? A free Pyromancer. And now that 4K gold lead that was FA's favor is now down to 1.5. But all of the fights have gone EV's way despite this gold lead. So if the smaller that gets, the better they get for EV, then I don't know what it's going to look like when they're ahead. But still need to clean up the micros just a little bit. Objectives are in their favor right now. Kills are in their favor right now, and we're down gold. So I'm not sure if we're just getting all of our buffs invaded, but clean that up, man. And EV is in a position to just drive this game.
So 17 minutes in, Eternal Vanguard for the first time in the lead for the game, but Fallen Angels aren't giving up on their confidence just yet. They're going to burn the Fire Giant right in front of all 5 members of Vanguard. This is, I mean, the audacity from all 5 members is wild, but looks like they're going to be going for a bait play. But if Eternal Vanguard aren't going to bite the bait, then just take the FG. Maybe that's what happens. Yard around the corner, and it looks like nobody from EV is zoning, or maybe everybody is. What are we doing here?
Yeah, this has turned into a bait play, turned into I've now taken 2,000 damage from fire. Can you guys please make up your mind for this Yamoja, or excuse me, for Testai, already down to half health, and they haven't been touched by the enemy god of EV yet. Immediate drop, and they're still posturing for this fight with the health disadvantage.
But I don't know how we start this fight, though. Banana Band walking straight towards Fuego. Kraken utilized, but doesn't do too much damage. It might have been a little bit off the mark. And Fuego running for his life now, running back towards the jungle. It looks like Eternal Vanguard are going to collapse on the rest of the members of Fallen Angels and maybe take them off the map. Biart takes down one. Depths kills Hydra in the process. One dead on each side so far. And Fuego was forced to go back to base. And Banana Band cleaning up the back line. Down goes Puppy Girl Ashland. Mousy is dead, and so is Testai. 3 members dead on the side of Fallen Angels. Depths is the only one left in the area to kill, but nowhere for Chalk to go. Finally teleports over the wall, but look who's expecting him is Banana Band with the Q-Fig. 4 members of Fallen Angels are dead once more, and the Fire Giant will go the way of Eternal Vanguard.
Yeah, I'm kind of speechless with how disjointed this fight starts. This starts with 2 on Fuego, and somehow EV is also not losing anyone in the 3v4 below the pit. I mean, they live forever. They burst out Fuego, force him to back, and then still somehow get there in time for Merlin to take the first kill of the fight. get a Fire Giant afterward, Fuego going past the dagger to kill the Emoja. If he gets Cuckoo, maybe? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we wait a quarter of a second and grab dagger on our way to clean up Michu's, but not going to do so. 4 kills and Fire Giant for Michu's. Yeah, if
This
I'm EV,
is
I'm taking that to the bank. 6
I
times.
dude, this is crazy. This is absolutely nuts. I can't even. I'm not even sure. It's neck and neck. This is Enkidu. This is never neck and neck. I mean, it's usually like, we're kind of waiting on somebody to throw or something, but this feels like an even game. Fallen Angels are finally getting checked, and Eternal Vanguard are utilizing their macro play. They just got Fire Giant for the first time. The first Fire Giant going their way. Obsidian Dagger for Bjart, and Gold Fury is alive for the taking.
Yeah, FA cannot afford to let this gold go, but they also cannot afford to lose this fight. This is the fight that determines, does EV have a real gold lead? So far it's at 2K, but if EV gets a pick or two or gets this Gold Fury, now all of a sudden we're talking about 4 or 5,000. That's a real item on some of these different gods. Banana Ban 7-0. He had a good game last game, but joining him this time is Bjart 5-1 and getting infinite value on these abilities. FA's here, but they're just not in.
Down to 2,000, and it's getting hovered. Skyfall into the air, followed by Spirit of the Nine Winds. All of our secure abilities are utilized. Who's going to get the Gold Fury? Eternal Vanguard paying attention to it, but over the wall. Puppy Girl, is they going to steal it away? No, they're not. It's going to go the way of Eternal Vanguard. Mousy finds a kill in the process, though. Blame Lemon is dead. Michu's dropping on health in quick time, but Banana Band at the back line taking down Depths, taking down Fuego, and Puppy Girl Lashlin just lost to Bjart once more. Testai roaming crazy into the back line, but finally going to get taken down by Hydra. 4 members of Fallen Angels are dead once more. Eternal Vanguard cleans up another objective. We might be going to game 3 here.
Unfortunately, Nut Alt, man, it gets wasted on a Gold Fury that's dropped. Now, don't get me wrong, Lemon followed that up by also wasting Spirit of the Nine Winds on a Gold Fury that's dropped. But while pulling the objective, leashing the objective, and fighting, EV still somehow gets on top after doing all 3 things at once, and FA is just trying to fight. Was a huge emoji ult from Michu's, cuts off Fuego for the rest of the team, get that numbers advantage back onto your side. Great zone, great play, and I'm assuming the comms must be good too because they are focusing these gods down, man. We're seeing 3 or 4 of EV on the same target at the same time, and that, like you said, just doesn't happen down here. So I don't know who's decided to speak up. I don't know who got yelled at. I don't know who the coach is that told him to do so, but props to him. It's working well, and like we said, that 2K fake gold lead now up to a full almost 5K.
Oh my God. Fallen Angels have lost so much momentum coming out of last game. I mean, even over the break, AB, we were talking about how, well, I guess after this, we know we're going to go 2-0, right? But This looks like a completely different Eternal Vanguard. It looks like 5 different players have logged into the same accounts, and it's just a brand new team. But in goes Tess with the no escape. It pulls 3. It pulls 3. Spirit of the Nine wins in response to try and take down a couple members of FA, but it's not going to help. 3 members dead in the blink of an eye. Hydra extremely low. And Blame Lemon taken down on the backside. 4 members dead, but this time for Fallen Angels. Eternal Vanguard just got baited by the no escape. A humongous play from Testai. We need to run it down. We need to run it down fast.
Yeah, this has to at least be a Phoenix. Maybe it's Tower, Phoenix, and Pyro on the way out or something, but we've got to get something on this map done. And if we can get some Fire Minion advantages in this mid lane with Fire Giant about to spawn, we also have Poseidon, who is not going to split push left. Well, maybe he is. Now he is. So clean up the towers, get a Phoenix, get 4 kills, 3 of them shutdowns, by the way. I mean, that's insane. We just watched 5 men with fire go to the same fight in Gold Fury and get slammed. And then this mid T2, the final boss of all Enkidu games, and it's just every team falls for it at different points, and it just so happened to be EV's turn, I guess. They didn't even damage it, as production is highlighting for us. Ares walks in, ults 3, no counter engage, no disengage, no safety, all dead. We have 5 members on EV with beads. All 5 of them. Ares hits 3 of them, and none of the beads are up. I mean, that's the easiest way in the world to lose a fight. I don't
I
know, man.
mean,
We just hyped them up. They're walking to the tier 2. Man, this EV team looks different. This Caster's Curse, perhaps? I don't know, but I just saw minute 33 EV from last game for a split second there, and it was just enough for FA to just destroy the lead that EV had.
even if all of these members of Eternal Vanguard didn't have beads online, I would expect at least Michu's to have team beads and then deny the pull from everybody by himself. I mean, Michu's has the potential to save the team right there, but isn't building properly. I don't think Spirit Robe is that bad, but Genji's, I think there's just so many more utility-based items that beads
Hell
finally
yeah,
look who
beads.
learned their lesson. Look who learned their lesson there. But two members of Fallen Angels in the lamp of Banana Band. It looks like a party in there, 2-on-2. But who's gonna win the battle? We can't tell. We can only see what's going on out here. But looks like the teams are scared to initiate while everybody's in the lamp. Finally, everybody's out. Skyfall does massive damage. Hydra's in a whole heap of trouble and needs to escape the battle. Rivers of
Huge
Buke is
ammo
out and
wall.
looking for members of the back line. Down go Fuego and Puppy Girl Ashland. Mommy Mousy gonna join their friends at the grave, but Dep's able to clean up on 2. Bjart's in a whole heap of trouble. Banana Band is dead as well. Bjart is down. A lot of dead bodies on both sides, but who will emerge victorious? One standing on each side. Test Dive versus Banana Band. Who will win? Hits the knockup. Another one, but the chain's online for a test. Will they finish off Banana Band? No, they won't. Shut down and a deicide going to Eternal Vanguard.
Man, I'll tell you what, uh, that was something, right? We just watched them get utterly annihilated, 4-0, and then here they come again. Michu's, I cannot overstate the value. We just talked about them not having team beads and how much, that is just a detriment, especially to an Ares, right? But man, that ult was special. Traps 3 of them in the back end of Blue Buff. Unironically, the Chalk and Ares, the only 2 to survive the encounter, weren't there. But yeah, the enemy team has a Neath, so we can't show with less than 200 health. Neath alive for 5 seconds and finishing what should have been the deicide for FA, so it turns into a 5-for-5.
Absolutely crazy game so far. The closest game I've ever seen in the Enkidu division. Fallen Angels still in the lead here at the 26-minute mark, but not by much. If you want to maintain that lead, you need to finish off your opponents fast. Get a good team fight in, grab the FG or the Ancient Fury, and run it down from there. Those are your options for Fallen Angels. Eternal Vanguard need to stay breathing, let everybody get to level 20, and then retry this team fight phase, because I think after that, it'll go much better their way. But down on itemization, down on levels as well, Fallen Angels are just always going to have a bit of an upper hand as the Fire Giant starts getting burned away here. This lovely song and dance by the Fire Giant that we all know quite well. It's going to start here. Fallen Angels continuing to slowly but surely burn the objective away as Depths is creating space, zoning away members of Eternal Vanguard, but not using any abilities. Waiting, biding
I
their
love it.
time, dashing forward, Whirlwind,
I
followed
hate
by
it
Spirit of
again.
the Night wins, but no way! Kraken in response, down goes Blame Lemon. This could be bad news. Fuego hasn't been taken out of the fight, but at least he's not dead. He'll still benefit from the Fire Giant buff, so it go their way, but Depth secured the Fire Giant. Depth secured it. There's a whole fight happening by the Fire Giant. Bjart's able to find a kill, but Mommy Mousy is running it down, holding the trigger and letting it fly. Members dying all across the Fire Giant pit, and Bjart is nowhere to be found, running for his life now as Fallen Angels walk forward in W key, looking for a little bit more.
Yep.
But Banana Band showed up for a shutdown. Mousy just got aired out as well. This is bad news for Fallen Angels. They've lost 2 members with Fire Giant buffs.
Yeah, I mean, you can see at the scoreboard and see what's been keeping EV in this what was a dominant position, right? Merlin 10-3, Aladdin 11-3, and man, they are making plays. Michu's has had some absolutely insane emojals to help them out with it. But we're lacking a little bit from what we got out of our solo, highlighted right there at that fire pit. Poseidon all alone, Kukulkan aspect. We dash at him, we dump the whole kit. Fuego is still alive, and we're not tanky enough to eat his damage. Well, he's a level 17 at 28 minutes, Mort. he hasn't cleared a wave in solo lane for the last 8 minutes, constantly rotating these team fights. I mean, we just don't have the items. We've got Thoth, Breastplate, Genji's, and Tahuti. He just got the tier 2 relics thing right there. Like, it just, I loved the idea behind it. But the moment he didn't 100 to 0 Fuego, and Fuego had everything up, it was over. Fuego does hurt. That is a Kraken in jungle at level 20 with upgraded starter, man. That burns. But, I mean, Banana Ban and Bjart kept him in this game so far. Clean up 2 kills there on the back end. Now this FA push, this Fire Giant, not on the Chalk, which has been a crucial member for them, and not on this Neath either, which is a very, very big setback. I need to see EV just get a little bit more out of Lemon, whether it's damage wise or tank wise, something. He's got to bring a little bit more to the table. And Hydra has had a quiet game himself, but he's finally got TB and Odibo online, 5 real ADC items. Definitely should be just piece and depths up at this point, so would love to see that from him as well.
30 and a half minutes in to this banger of a game two. Fire Giant belts around 3 members' waist of Fallen Angels, Obsidian Dagger in hand for Testai as they march down the left side of the map and take down the tier 2 tower. Not much to grab afterwards. The middle and the right side bird are debuffed by the Ancient Fury, and Fallen Angels grouping up as 5 and marching down the mid lane. Can this be the end of the game? Will Fallen Angels keep us from a game 3, or will Eternal Vanguard stop their siege and keep this game alive? This is when we find out right here, waiting on minions. And then they'll storm the tower. Runic Bomb in the hand of Depths. Every tool that Fallen Angels could need is in their favor. Let's see how they use these tools. Waiting for their moment, biding their time, waiting for the correct time to strike. This is the moment that we've all been waiting for. 2 things you remember here in Smite 2 AB: violence and timing. And just waiting on their moment. Beads used from and abandon the. Okay, I was trying to make it sound intense, but that's just cringe, dude. Just utilizing, dude. That was a crazy tool that you're probably gonna need. Let's just see if that throws the fight here. Let's just see if that throws the
Guys,
fight.
the Ares ult now, I'm gonna lose my mind. I was just about to say, look at the way they're pacing, showing a lot of respect to Michu's here. Had some banger emoji ults. We know Bjart's doing the damage. Just look at the graph. But it was full blown. You're hyping it up. I'm getting goosebumps. I'm ready to go. This is potentially the end of our toilet bowl turned playoff final somehow with this intensity. And then we beads in the fountain, baby, and I'm right back to the toilet bowl. Let's run it down. There's no need for this pacing. But instead, backing off of this Phoenix entirely, going to grab a second bomb for their troubles, and that's fire gone.
I think at this point we're letting EV grab a little more XP, grab a little more gold, and get in a better position to defend their Titan. I feel like there was a right time to strike there, and just nobody took the opportunity. And that's kind of what it is. You need to make things happen quickly. That's how the snowball works. In the heat of the moment, the snowball melts, and you need to act cold, ice cold, with every decision you make to keep the snowball going. And that coldness wasn't there as far as decision making goes from Fallen Angels. Now they're going to have to reset and do this thing all over again. But good news, the Eternal Fire Giant. Is that what EFG stands for? Eternal? Or is it
I
Epic
thought it
Fire
was
Giant?
enhanced.
Enhanced Fire Giant. That's probably what it is. That sounds about right. Sorry, I'm been out of ball nowhere here. Enhanced Fire Giant available and ready for the taking. That thing is going to take a long time to burn. So we're waiting on the correct moment to start the burn and bait out members of Eternal Vanguard.
Big note here is that Kukulkan just got his time stop. Banana Band's got his time stop. Merlin's got that enhanced blink, so a lot more safety on these damage dealers. If Cuckoo gets the time to get his starter, we see him over there in right lane right now catching some waves that they continue to push at him. Don't know why. You're a full build Chalk. What's the point? Let that minion wave settle right there in the middle. Don't let Kukulkan be safe while he clears these. Sure enough, there it is. There's the level 20, and there's that starter for this Kukulkan. That's a lot more extra damage that, like you said, we just didn't have to give them, right? But They've got it now, and we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Banana Ban in the mid lane, popping his beads again. I don't know what caused it, but he is down his beads once more.
Okay, so we're just throwing poke at each other here. Nobody's extremely low on health, but we're just
Uh-oh.
chunking abilities and seeing who gets locked down. In goes
Oh,
Depths for
that's
a
nasty.
massive storm call. It's a huge silence that locks down a couple members of Eternal Vanguard, able to use the wind sprite to get away. Bjart doesn't want a piece of that fight, and I cannot blame him as Puppy Girl Ashton cleans up on Banana Band. That's one dead body so far to 3 low health bars on the side of Eternal Vanguard, all zoned away and need to go back to base, but that's A-okay because if you send them to the fountain, at least you can get the EFG afterwards, and that's exactly what well, there's low health bars on the side of Fallen Angels as well. I don't even
Yep.
think EFG is smart.
They're not going to pull this. They can't. I mean, we are one random cuckoo NATO dash away from having my Poseidon and my Nut dead, right? Like, we've reached the point. We've given him the time. We've lost our level lead across the board now, besides in this support role, which is there any difference between a level 18 and level 20 Emoja outside of just the regular upgraded base stats? Not really. But we've got full completed starter items on every one of these damage dealers. These are all real gods as FA starts up this fire once more, doing the dance of dances for this EFG.
And here we are once more. EFG down to half health. Over the wall. This could be huge for Just Blame Lemon, but not
They
even
don't
a
even walk
steal
up.
attempt. There was an ultimate available, but not even an attempt to chunk it over the wall. I mean, that could have been a crazy big steal, but I think that was just a lost opportunity from Blame Lemon. And now making their way down the field, looking for Bjart. I mean, this is time for FA to get into the end zone. This is exactly what it is. They've done enough of this slow, methodical drive crap. We've played enough of the run game. It's time to go for a Hail Mary.
Yeah, I mean, two bombs in hand, dagger in hand on this Poseidon, who we already know can 100 to 0 any of these backliners if he can find them. Though Bjart's been a little crafty, been able to avoid Fuego so far. Need him to do it here, and unfortunately, he is cornered in this Phoenix pit once more, and they're not waiting anymore. Back in there already. And it's gone.
Walking forward, down goes the middle bird. Rivers of Buke is out as well. Maybe Eternal Vanguard take this fight, but Fallen Angels don't even care about the ult. They make their way towards the other side bird. Right side bird begins here. They're going to burn it away and take it down. A second bird falls. Another kill is going to go for their second
dead.
objective, but around the corner, Cuckoo's trying to dive, but Spear of the Nine wins off the mark. It gets juked by backflip. That was a crazy dive, and now Eternal Vanguard are down one. Make it. No, BR just cleaned up Fuego, and now down one member. They're still going to make their way towards the Titan, but who's missing? Where's the fourth member?
Wait a second.
Into the
Oh, they're in
lamp?
the lamp. They're in the lamp.
No way. No way. The lamp play goes
Oh, the
their way.
damage.
And Depths, Tess, everybody's in the lamp right now, just waiting. And Bjart's waiting to come out. But Puppy Girl cleans up on Banana Band. Extremely low on health is Bjart. Meat Shoes hiding in the base. 4v3. Mommy Mousy makes it a 4v2. Surely this is the end of the game, but we've got one more kill we need to make happen. Bjart running for his life, but Stormcall does massive damage. Hydra takes down Puppy Girl, but still the burn goes onto the Titan, and it is dropping like hot butter on a stovetop. It looks like Fallen Angels will take game 2 and win the set.
Yeah, man. This is one of those situations where unfortunately it says defeat for Banana Ban and Bjart's screen right now, and I'm sure they definitely don't feel like they just won. But man, they played the life out of that game. I obviously there's always a way where you can go deathless and you could have 50 kills if you make the perfect AI generated play. Man, whatever. This is Enkidu, and Bihart and Banana Man just played the lights out, right? Did every possible thing that they could have done to make that work. And it just I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it from the supporting cast, man. Michu's had some moments with ults, but then in that Phoenix fight, we ulted after the Phoenix is already gone. You know what I mean? It's just the little stuff. And Banana Band, once again, we get Sidolin into the lamp, but his team's just not there to keep them out. Ends up getting outnumbered, even though they got Fuego. Is it worth it to lose Banana Band? Looking at the scoreboard, no. And looking at the way that team fight went afterward, definitely not. so fortunate because BR and Banana Band played the lights out. Banana Band across both games and BR at the minimum in that game too was insane. But for the winners, Deps had an amazing game, right? 7 of 5 aspect chalk, hits a 3-man alt at that EFG fight. Unfortunately, ends up going in for a deicide for EV, but had an amazing fight, and they end up getting EFG afterward. Very clean in the siege, a lot of space generated. Mommy Mousy, two really good games. Ashland not as dominant in the first or in the second game as they were in the first, but definitely did what they needed to do. I mean, at the end of the day, their team won.
Well, that's all we have as far as games go. But if you want a little more content, it looks like we might have a post game interview. So stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break and set that up. We'll be back in just a moment. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Babylon Smite League. We just saw a hell of a set between Enkidu Divisions, Fallen Angels, and Eternal Vanguard. But emerging victorious in a 2-0 sweep are the Fallen Angels. My name is Morty, joined here by Airborne AB for short. We've got CafeKatArt behind the scenes, and we're interviewing one of the players. The ADC GOAT is what some like to call her. Cinnalon's here with us. What's the word?
We're all very excited. This is a long time coming. We've been grinding and scrims trying to figure out the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after that game one, it looked like you guys figured out something because I mean that looked like a finals ready team there from borderline minute 6 onward. I mean, it starts as a 2K gold lead, then 6, then 8, all the way up to 27 as you guys took that fire. And we saw the farming skills in game 2 as well, a 1.5K lead before any gold or objectives. Is that something that you guys highlight, making sure that you're on timers or possibly invades, or how do you guys make that happen for you guys in games?
I know me and Tess. We are very like farm heavy ADCs. We've both been on teams previous where that was very important. And Tess now being in support, they're awesome. But yeah, I mean we're on timers, we're on stuff. I think it helps that Deps is kind of just that guy. He always has
True.
a lead, and I don't know how he does it.
He did
Uh,
well, yeah.
but yeah, our macro is kind of led by me and Tess. We both just kind of like talk about, can we do this? Can we do that?
Well, I mean, it seemed to work out for you. I mean, I think EV had a single objective in the entirety of game one, and it was that one goal fury, I think, pre 10 minutes. So just utter domination on the map there. And then even falling behind in kills and losing a couple fights back to back in game two, still maintaining that gold lead, even though no one on EV had fallen. So definitely showing on the scoreboard and for everyone viewing that there is a difference being made there. But you talked about Depths being that guy. Is there anything in particular that you guys do for Depths to help him be that guy, or is he just kind of that dude?
So we tell him every single game that he is playing weak side and that he is not going to get a singular gank.
Nice.
And sometimes we give him ganks and stuff, but truly it was the lovely coaching staff at Fallen Angels, specifically Legacy. He worked with Depths 24/7, pretty much, and Depths has been really good. We focused on farm for him. Oftentimes, it's also kind of being on these rocks. It was kind of hammered into us after, I believe, our Nat 20 loss, where it was like, you got to be on rocks. That's why you're losing the game. So, truthfully, it's we are always on rocks, and I think that's what accelerates him.
I think it's a very true statement. And yeah, we watched over the game, and it seems like y'all always were in control of rocks. And how you mentioned, we talked about during the cast as well, y'all's macro game is insane. Y'all are so good about showing up to objectives, watching the map, looking at the timers. That's not too common here in Enkidu, but y'all seem to have it down. And I think part of it, what we mentioned earlier on is, Tess has been out of the scene for a little bit, but Smite Prime is finally back, and Tess is watching these competitive games. When you see the highest of the high level players go at it, you're bound to bring a little bit of those strats down to your team. And I feel like that's part of what we saw is not just macro play, but itemization. I'm sure that you're being fed some builds, right? Like you know what to do because, oh, Streak's doing this. Everybody's getting Learny Bow. And I think that especially was reflected in game one. I saw you on the Geb. I was just like, okay, this is crazy. Like just slamming carries, like here comes Citadel, just like slamming health bars again. Like it was so, especially once you got all on, it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it is. I love the Geb pick. I used to be an Izanami like 2-trick back in Smite 1. So when I saw Izanami but better, I was
Yeah,
really
pretty
excited.
much.
Yeah.
Um,
That's pretty much it.
so yeah, that's just one thing that we've been practicing a lot. We look for pressure in ADC lane because I know I can convert Gold Furies very very easily. And then on that prime point, yeah, I mean I've been tests every single all this morning while I was sleeping because I was awake at 6 a.m. And hadn't slept yet.
Nice.
So while they were doing their stuff, they were posting builds and such. So we kind of saw the nut win game one of finals, and I was like, I can play it. I'm pretty decent at it. And then they were like, you should go the streak build, and I was like, okay. So I don't know. They're just the goats, okay? I just work here. But no, I love them all.
One more question before we take off. What do you have to say against your opponents next week?
Please reschedule.
Ooh.
Okay.
That'd be really cool. Because I think Tess still has to work. But also, I don't know, man. Fucking, I can't say that. Ban Soul, please. I don't want to play that god again. Or something.
True that.
Know,
Ban Soul, and please reschedule. Two powerful words. Thank you, Cinnalin, for joining us for an awesome interview. It's great to have you. Always a pleasure to talk with you. AB, thank you for joining me on the cast. CafeKat, thanks for making this whole thing happen. And most importantly, thank you to every single viewer that was a part of this broadcast. It was a pleasure to be here. My name is Morty. If you don't already know me, and we'll see you very soon. If you haven't already, be sure to scroll down just a tad and hit that follow button. We have plenty more competitive Smite action awaiting throughout the season as we're not even in the playoffs yet. So if you like what you saw, hit the follow button and stay tuned for more. Take it easy, gamers. Thanks, y'all.